Survivor specialist Alexa and McKenna are back. We are doing our first podcast of 2021. It feels amazing to be here. 2021, we've got the merge. We've finally got here, and saying we finally got here is does have a bit of a double meaning with both where we are physically in this year and where we are physically in this freaking season.
Oh, yeah. But the merge.
But we hit the merge. We hit the merge. It's been very exciting. We went into this last week talking about who our original winner picks were, how we feel about them now. McKenna had Sarah. I had Jericho originally, and I still don't particularly think he's going to win. I think Sarah's looking to be in a good position. But we had a different kind of merge episode. I felt like this was a lot different than American Survivor. Not just in the sense of, it's a different show, but just the strategy is different and the priorities are different. They're not sort of gunning for, the middle man or the easy vote necessarily, which I liked.
That's true. Though I feel like Jared was kind of like the middle man in a sense.
Maybe if he wasn't trying to,
he was trying to be a big boy.
And he was grown up.
Yeah. Big boy Luke ended up prevailing in that vote, but
right. Losing Jared and Annalise is the one that was a little more upsetting for me. I had thought Annalise was devastated. I thought she was going to pull out a win despite being an edge of extinction person, quote unquote. Yeah. But she was just good. I thought she was a fighter. Jared, I feel like was, you people in the chat correct me, but I feel like on a season of 24 people, you are just going to have some people who are not huge confessional givers, and Jared was one of them. Jared was always part of a large majority, so it didn't feel as satisfying for him to be the big merge boot,
Yes. In the beginning, in the opening of the episode, he says he's like pretty well set at Sumatow, and that Lockie, Henry, and Michelle are on the bottom, and it just kind of sets up this episode now that you know what happens at the end, where he's like, I'm good over here. These guys are at the bottom, but those are the ones that actually flip to go with Asanga to vote Jared out.
That's a really good point. I actually didn't catch that. I caught it in the sense of, all right, well, if I didn't already know there was going to be the merge, there's always I'm so happy with where I am confessional, and then hard cut to changing things up.
I just rewatched it about 2 hours ago.
Okay, so you're really I forgot you rewatch these, so you actually catch storylines that I often miss. But what's cool about this is we have the merge. We have sort of a merge feast, but it comes with a merge reward challenge, which I thought was really cool because that doesn't really show up. And you get a massage, you get food, and you get letters from home, which is a fun twist.
I also really like the challenge. I thought it was a great play on the American challenge with the ring, where you've got to with the ball in the ring, where it's that monotonous kind of motion.
Sure. I liked that one a lot too. And that one, Phil and I actually have tried to do that one at one of the Survivor finales.
You did the bow one.
You did the bow one, and then I also did the round one. I didn't do very well. But it's not so it's heavy, but it's not horrible. This one seemed with the bottle, or with the part that could hit the bottle, it was very awkward. So it seemed tough to actually get into a good momentum, which I thought was a nice touch.
Yeah, it for some reason, Jericho's it seemed no matter how many times he hit his frame, the bottle was not falling over.
Meanwhile, I think we're gonna have to call a referee for that one.
Yeah, Tara taps hers, and it's just all right, shattered.
Yeah, exactly. And so Tessa ends up winning this, and I'm glad that Tessa is getting the challenge recognition. that she's finally getting in these next 2 episodes, because she comes from a tribe that has Lockie. She comes from a tribe that has had Henry for a period of time. She is from Ziggy.
Yeah.
Like, she is from the most stacked tribe I've ever seen. Right. And she even calls out JLP sometimes. He's like, oh yeah, Lockie and Ziggy are doing so amazing yet again. And Tessa's like, hello, so am I.
Yeah,
like,
that was in the
yeah. And I never thought to pay attention to her. She wins this reward, and she does pretty darn well in the upcoming Immunity Challenge too. So I want to give her a shout out there, because she gets no love because there are like 4 other more athletic people than her, but still very impressive.
She's always right there at the end, and she's the last quote unquote like normal person usually left in the challenge. So
yeah, I'm glad you had like mere mortals versus like Lockie, Ziggy, and Henry. Because it's true.
they're like carved out of something.
Right, exactly. So Tessa wins, which is very exciting. And of course, what would Survivor be if it didn't have a moral dilemma involving family letters? What do you think about this? So what happened?
She did the right option of picking. So he offers, you can forego all of your rewards with the food, the bed, the massage, etc., for giving everyone else their letters. It's like, okay, great. Now I'm either the bad guy or I don't get something I really want.
Yeah. So, do you want to sleep and be a huge asshole, or be like a decent person and potentially not get voted out?
Yeah. And for something like the family visit stuff, it's something you have to do. And if you don't do it, you'll get voted out. But if you do give them the letters, that's not a guarantee that you make it to the next round anyway. So it's just like a crap decision either way.
Yes. So she ends up doing it, which they do kind of, and maybe this is like Australians are way nicer than Americans, but they do tell her like you do what you want, Tessa, like don't really let us bug you. But there's always one person who's very, very emotional. And this was the case with Jenna Maraska in Amazon. Your girl, hot model Sarah, wants her letters. She wants them.
She does. And then I feel, and Luke is also super choked up about it as well, because he has his kids. And yeah, she did the only thing that she really could do, and was give everybody their letters. And Peter actually tells her, I'll take your bag for you, as they leave the challenge.
Right.
Because he's so grateful that he gets to have his letters.
Yes. And Peter gets quite the confessional here. And we actually get like, I don't know the actual time, but it felt like 10 minutes of people crying. And I am like pro crying. I'm fine with that. It did feel a bit long, but I think I'm also not used to watching 1.5 hour episodes of Survivor consistently.
Right. Well, it also feels just like a lot of loved one stuff.
Right.
And some people got. Hold on, this dog wants up on this couch. I'm sorry.
Bring in the dog. We have a special guest appearance. McKenna's in a different location than usual, and apparently comes bearing a dog. And also seems to be emotionally invested in these contestants' family letters. I don't know. I'm going to keep filling the air because I thought McKenna was coming back.
I'm here.
You're back. I was like, I don't know how long. That is a really cute dog.
Yes, this is Noli. She wants to be on your lap all the time.
What does she think about the family letters?
Oh, she liked them overall. She also hopes hot model Sarah's was not from her boyfriend.
Actually, he dumped her via mail.
Loved one letter. Perfect.
But yeah, I mean, we get some pretty emotional content from Peter. We get it from Henry. We really get a lot. And I think as much as I can say like, oh, this went on for a little too long, or I know if Phil was watching this, he'd be like, this is like, I don't care about any of this. It's not important. This is what we complain about not getting in American Survivor. And sure, it was long-winded, but I do feel like I've gotten to know the players a little bit more. And I think especially when it comes to Luke, where we've had him have this emotional reaction to family content before. And Lucas, I've not been Luke's biggest fan, but I have gone back and forth on him. But he is a really, really good example of being a fun villain, but has a very, very rootable part of him. And I think
that was me with Kyle Jason the entire time during Co-Wrong.
He's like a nicer, happier Kyle Jason.
Yeah. And we got to know a little bit more with Henry. Tara got a letter from her mom, who's taking care of her 3 kids, and she's like, oh my god, I left my mom with 3 boys. What did I do?
Thanks, Mom.
Yeah. And then we get Peter's amazing moment, which just like killed me, because like I understand the struggles. But his dad sending him something on like rainbow paper with a butterfly, I was just like, oh my god, I'm like I did not need this right now.
Why am I crying alone with this dog right now? Yeah, Peter's was really great, because Peter is someone who, again, is like a pretty secondary character on this season, but still has like, you know, he makes a big flip. He switches tribes. He's present, but we aren't getting a lot of personal content from him. And I thought that was just a really good touch. And I think it that was definitely the standout moment of the 4 letters. Sure. So we haven't even gotten the immunity challenge, and we're already freaking out. Everyone is gunning for everybody. Tessa is a little sketched out by Lockie and Tara getting back together.
Valid.
Very understandable. Lockie, Tara, and Annalise were part of this big group. Annalise and Tara were gone. Lockie was alone. And Lockie, I feel like, has gone through the most ups and downs this season in terms of like being in power versus not. And Lockie and Tara get back together pretty much immediately.
Yes. They just like stick to each other like glue. Oh my gosh, I missed you. Here you are. We have so much to catch up on.
Yes, I missed you so much. I'm so glad you are still in this game. Hard cut to Annalise getting out later. But yeah. So what else is going on here? So Sarah back on the Asanga tribe, because if you're keeping it as Samatau versus Asanga is obviously in a really bad position.
Right.
Sarah and Luke and Jericho, they finally like decided to get back to stay together, and they need somebody. And so Sarah goes to Michelle, who shockingly is here, and still survives.
Yes.
Who I've been underestimating. So for what we've been really underestimating Michelle. But so Sarah tries to grab her because she used to be on that tribe. So you see people are starting to plant the seeds of what to do, and Jericho and Jared strike up a bit of a friendship.
Yes. And Jericho and Jared wants Jericho to come with them to vote their way, and underline his vote so they know, like, oh, we voted this way.
Yeah, as like a bit of a like
trust building.
Yeah, like a look, like prove to me that you did it. Which I like. I mean, I have no problem with that. I think it's a cool idea. And then you have Henry, who's in a difficult position too, because he's been on Samatau for a while, probably at this point an equal amount of time as originally being on Asanga. And he and Lockie are sort of the ones in limbo because they're aligned. I think Henry does see the writing in the sand that he is not in control of that Samatau group. So Peter's jumping back to his old tribe, even though they weren't really down with him when he left. Yeah,
it seemed like though Henry fit like right back in to Luke, Jericho, Sarah, and Tara, even though he hadn't played with Tara before. It seemed like he fit right back in, and then the middle votes were Lockie and Michelle.
Yeah,
it's wherever they swung that's where the numbers wound up.
And we have what else is I saying? So where it is pretty much according to Jared, which also should have been a red flag for me. Jared has not been a narrator in any sense, but he has a confessional that says It's Jared, Ziggy, Pete, Tessa, and Lockie with Annalise and Michelle. At this point in time, that is what is going on. And I think with Annalise potentially going back, I think I would have liked to hear a little bit more on the thought process there, because if I'm Annalise, I wouldn't particularly want to work with them, because it seems like Tara is like down with Lockie, but not with the rest of the group.
Oh yeah, no. Tara's like, Summertown is dead to me. It was dead to me the moment I got voted out and left that beach.
Yes. Yes. Thank you for the quote. That was very good. And they want to hit Henry. So
yes.
What do you think about the move at that point to want to go for Henry?
Do you think I think Henry's choice. Really? I think Henry would be a great choice as the first merge boot, because he's dangerous. One, he's dangerous physically, he's dangerous socially and strategically. So if I were someone who is of a similar caliber, I'd want to keep him around. Like Ziggy. Ziggy wants to keep Henry around because Henry's more of a threat than her. But if I'm someone like Michelle or Jared, get him the hell away from me. No, like he's not a shield for me. He's a threat.
And you don't necessarily see like Jared and Henry particularly having a relationship. It's more Henry and Lockie, Henry and Ziggy, and they have that weird final three that hasn't been brought up since the first time it was brought up. But one thing to consider, because in 2 episodes we have not lost a single challenge beast, and it's a stacked looking final whatever we have here. Yeah,
Ziggy won't let the boys go, and that's so smart of her, because they're all looking at the boys over her. And meanwhile, she should be the one that's looked at.
Especially considering what goes down the next episode. But I want to save the Ziggy praise because I have a lot. But anyway, so let's go.
Well, we can do a little bit here with the immunity challenge.
Hell yeah. Well, first thing that I want to mention is that Asatoa is the tribe name. Give me your thoughts.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Oh, weird. Oh, weird.
I don't like it. I forget who said it, but he was like, huh? Like, weird name.
I think it was Michelle.
Yeah, probably. So this immunity challenge is great. Very similar to American Survivor, where the first one is somewhat balance oriented, but this one you are pretty much in a downward dog position or a plank pose, but you're
a push-up plank.
A push-up plank in the air. I would not have made it 3 minutes on this challenge.
See, I've never tested myself in a push-up plank because like exercise, but but I can't do a regular plank to save my life, because I had to do that in a challenge. So like regular planks, not my thing. Push-up planks, maybe I've got a little bit more in the tank, but
maybe that's your thing. Maybe you can do it for like 15 minutes.
Not as long as Ziggy can do it. Not as long as Henry can do it. And probably not as much as Tessa either. So like
so Tessa makes it. Also, right before I want to go there, so JLP does mention first person voted out will be a member of the jury, and people flip out in excitement. So I feel like there was a concern that maybe they wouldn't be a member of the jury.
Well, because it's happened before. I don't know in Australian Survivor specifically, but in American Survivor, it happens where you make the merge, but you don't make the jury.
Yeah, so I was curious if the previous, like if season 1, someone didn't make the jury, because their reaction was so strong that it felt like they were concerned until that happened.
John's in the comments. He's seen season 1. So John, did they make the jury?
Anyways, while he's considering that, Tessa makes it 40 minutes. Do you think you could have done that downward dog for 40 minutes?
No. 40 minutes,
shocked.
Not a shot.
And they were smart. They kept switching sides and like putting that one arm up in the air. I don't know how much that would have helped me. I still would have made it 10 minutes maximum.
2 people made the merge, but not the jury in season 1.
That sucks.
Yeah.
So Tessa makes it 40 minutes. And then we get to the wildly unsurprising final 2 of this challenge of Ziggy versus Henry. Never thought I'd see the day.
Yeah, I feel like Lockie is not going to win in individual immunity because he's just like a James kind of, where he's like he's muscle, but he like, what's he doing with it?
It's well, yeah. I think that his kind of muscle. I have no right to be commenting on his type of muscle, considering I have none of it. But
right. I mean, I'm probably even less.
His type of muscle is like great for early challenges because you're shoving, you're
pushing,
throwing people, you're climbing. A lot of this is like, I feel like you need to do Pilates before you go on Survivor because it's a lot of
be a fake yoga teacher.
Or be a fake a laborer / fake yoga teacher, because you use a lot of those like weird one-off muscles and you need to be able to hold something in a weird position. I feel like for people of Lockie's stature, that's not so much their strength rather than someone like Ziggy who's a little leaner.
Mm-hmm. Right. Or Henry who's even leaner.
Yeah, Henry's very lean. You're right.
He's got the muscles, but it's not like built like Lockie.
And is this the challenge where JLP says something along the lines of like, well, thank God Henry's a yoga instructor because he can do this challenge so well. He does mention that at one point.
Yeah, I think so because he's doing like one of these kind of poses where he's holding.
If I did yoga, I would know what the name of that was, but I don't.
I don't either.
I thought that was funny. But Henry does not take the bait whatsoever. Nobody else does. I feel like that that storyline, it kind of reminds me of like Brett being a cop in Millennials vs. Gen X, where everyone's like, Brett, you're a cop. And he's like, no, I'm not. And they're like, well, we don't believe you, but we'll drop it.
He's a funeral director.
Right, of course. And I'm watching Cagayan because it's on Netflix right now. And Tony just talked about how
he's not a cop.
Yeah, about the importance of being loyal in his work of being a construction worker. And everyone is like, what is this guy talking about? Because someone might steal your tool.
Or shoot you in the leg with a nail gun or something like that. You never know.
You never know. So anyway, Ziggy, the non-yoga instructor, wins the first individual immunity, still somehow not putting a target on her back in the process, which is just wild. And I think I do want to say this. We talk about women who are challenge-based in American Survivor, but I genuinely do not think we have seen this caliber of challenge beast who's a woman in American Survivor before. I think Michaela Bradshaw could bid that, but Ziggy's lasted a little bit longer. I think the women who do really well in challenges, like Chrissy and Kim and all of them who have won 5 individual immunities, a lot of them have been a little more like puzzle oriented, and Ziggy, I feel like you get the full package.
Right. Yeah.
But it's not in any way to diminish what they've done.
No, for sure.
But I think it's really cool.
No, for sure. I believe Ziggy is definitely on a tier of her own with like Challenge Beast, because like Chrissy is like the older woman. You have Jenna Maraska who won Shuffleboard, Kelly Wigglesworth. Like some of their challenges weren't as brutal to win. Yeah.
So I wanted to give her a shout out for that, because she is one of the best challenge performers I've ever seen. So we get back to camp, and it is a disaster. And Henry's name comes up very early, which I've now watched too much Survivor where I just know it's not going to go
right
to him. It's like, oh, Henry's so easy to get rid of, and then doesn't even become a conversation later on.
Right. And then they're like, no, let's do a different one. Let's do kind of like the easy vote in Luke. And I'm like, how is Luke the easy vote?
I think Luke is, I think if you're between Luke and Henry, like as a viewer, it makes more sense to get rid of Henry. But I think it's still a smart vote to get rid of Luke because.
Well, yes, but I just don't see how he's easy. Yeah, like out of Tara, Sarah, Jericho, and Luke, like I wouldn't peg Luke as the easy vote. It's always one of the girls who were like the easy vote.
Yeah, maybe they meant easy vote just in the sense of we have more people than they do, and Luke is the head of that snake, and maybe like the game has become so meta where you're always trying to hit number 2 or number 3. Maybe it is a good idea to try to hit the number 1. And Luke purposely plays unpredictably. He's very persuasive, so he likes to dominate the vote. So I think having someone like that further on in the game, and spoiler, he survives, is really dangerous, and that could come back to bite them.
Mm-hmm. Yes, for sure.
Yeah, and then so Henry pretty much like goes back to the Asangas, and they want to hit Jared, and so this isn't the this isn't like the John Hannigan vote where you don't even expect Jared's name to come up. Jared's name does come up at this point in time. And so they need to get either Tara, Michelle, or Lockie to hit Jared. And Lockie is kind of not having it when they talk to him.
Well, don't they need all three?
Oh, did I say or? Yeah, I meant all.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. Lockie is debating, is this my best move? Do I leave Summertown now? Like, it's so early in the merge. It's
and
like,
he's made it this long with them.
Yeah, exactly. But he's on the bottom of Summertown.
Right.
I mean, sort of, because if you count Annalise and Michelle, but he's on the bottom either way. Because I think they might even take Annalise further than Lockie as well.
I think it would have made more sense. I think if I'm Lockie in that position before I know how the votes go, I think it does make sense to flip because he is, like you just said, he is at the bottom. So if you're going to go from bottom to bottom, what does it matter? But I think if he does go over to the Asangas, he isn't necessarily on the bottom because Henry does have some clout with them. Yep. Luke will eventually try to take over, and that could bother people. So I think Lockie flipping is still it's a safe flip. You know,
100%. I think he did the right move for himself. Right. And moving forward, he kind of broke it open a little bit, not crazy like the game has been like busted wide open, but he broke it open a little bit, so where Ziggy is a little less loyal to Summertown and can be a little bit more loyal to Henry and Lockie.
Sure. So they need Lockie, they need Tara. Tara's probably not too hard of a sell because at this point,
Tara's a Sangha.
Yeah.
I don't even count her any part of Summertown.
Right. And then Michelle is kind of the final one here. And Michelle, you see, is the main one who's kind of flipping and flopping. Yet right before we go to Tribal Council, I think the Samatow's don't invite her to get water, and she is not happy. She's not happy about that. And that, I'm sure, like, that is not the only reason. But as a viewer, like, that is what flipped her to vote for Jared.
Yeah, don't leave me out of things. Also, don't tell me I'm on the bottom. It wasn't that also a conversation somewhere in there where, like, oh, you were the last one in?
I missed that, but if so, then
maybe it's in the next episode. I can't remember, but like, there was a conversation like, "Hey, you were the last one in," and she's like,
"The hell?
Why are you telling me this?"
Yeah, that's not good jury management, as people would say.
Yeah.
I actually think it's next Tribal Council. We come back to the flippers conversation, the F word.
Yes, the F word.
Let's go to this Tribal Council first. It's a bit of a mess. I didn't take a ton of notes on this Tribal Council, if I'm going to be completely honest. I did write down Henry equals top dog, and I don't know if it's something. I think that's a thought that I had. I don't necessarily know if someone said that.
I don't think someone did. I think that was a you thought.
Well, I think so because Henry was. I think Henry's played a really great game, and sometimes I feel like he's been overplaying a bit, but he knew that he was not going to have any pull at Summertown, and he clearly likes to be the one making the decisions. He's now flipped physical tribes and now flipped alliances twice, and this worked, and he knew who to pull over. So I'm really impressed with how Henry's playing.
Yeah,
you are not, and I want to hear why.
No. Henry's playing a great game, but like, he's not one of my favorites anymore. Like, he's just kind of like, he's kind of stale for me. Like,
he doesn't excite me as much. Sorry.
He used to like, oh, Henry and Jackie, and then all of a sudden when he decided I want to be top on Asanga, and then now I'm going to swap to Samatau because I want to rule over there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think he's like so meta. Like, I feel like we're getting a slightly more likable AK. Like, I think if he had more of the like biting or harsh personality, I think people wouldn't like him very much. But he's also like, he's cute, he's good in challenges, he's got the beautiful hair. So I think that makes him very easily likable. But I'm with you. Like, I feel like he's a little dead inside when he's talking sometimes. Yeah.
I'm just kind of over it. He wants to be the leader of everything, and good for you, buddy. But like, can we get a little bit more?
And I think at some point this is going to come to bite him, because this is a really smart group of players. He can't be the head of every single vote, and it's a little scary to want to be the one doing that at the merge, but he pulls it off. I mean, Jared goes home. Luke gets 4 votes. He only gets Tess, Ziggy, Pete, Annalise, and Jared. Excuse me, he gets 5 votes. And then Jared goes home with the rest. So Annalise actually goes back to original Samatau, while Lockie, Michelle, and Tara leave.
Yes, they're like, I'm good.
Yeah, I was surprised by Annalise there. I was surprised that, like, I wonder who pulled her.
Yeah, I was surprised too, because though it did seem like her and Tara kind of distanced, but it seemed like her and Sarah got closer.
Right.
And then once she swapped back, she got back with Lockie, started talking with Henry again, and it was just like it felt like she had people, and those people were Asanga.
Well,
so I don't know why she was. Yeah. Well.
So let's go over to the next episode, which I believe is episode 17. And I actually wrote this down. Ryan Chan hitting us with $2. Thank you so much. Jericho underlining Jared's name was savage. That was I did like that. Yeah, I actually forgot to even look for it.
I saw in when he wrote out his vote, it was just a very clear.
You are voted out.
Yep.
So before this episode started, I wrote down Henry, Annalise, and Ziggy. They all have idols.
Yes. Well, kind of Ziggy has an idol and an idol nullifier.
Which I did want to know. This doesn't end up being a problem, but I was curious if if you nullify wrong, are you still safe? Like, do these all go together perfectly? Or?
No, I think the thing separates. So she just played the nullifier and has the idol.
Okay. I thought it couldn't separate.
From what I heard,
was Ziggy safe?
No. She just nullified Annalise.
Oh, damn. Okay, then Ziggy still has an idol. That is crazy. I thought that she had to use the idol, but that's really great for her. In that case, then she totally made the right move here. But I thought it was kind of crazy. Like, we have 10 people left, and 3 people have idols, or 2 have idols. 1 is a super idol. John Millsap can confirm they 2 separate pairs. That is a lot of power for one person to have.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Yes. So we come back from tribal council, and Lockie and Annalise, who have always been on the same page, are just like not vibing. And it's really, really weird. And it's because Lockie tries to get away with not admitting that he flipped.
And it seemed like he did. In
I mean, he was a horrible liar.
Yeah. Like, I don't understand. And like, where are you counting votes? It had to have been Lockie. It had to have been Michelle.
Yeah, because I think Michelle was like, yeah, I did it. Like, I think it was like obvious. But
yeah, and then Lockie tried to pawn it off on Annalise.
Yeah, and she is like, we're broken up. Like, I'm super done with Lockie. She's not happy at all. But then he was like, I think it was Pete was grilling him, and he's like, well, how do I know you didn't do it? And Pete was like,
I didn't.
Like, because I'm mad. That's why. So like, I think that can work sometimes, and I think it has worked, but there just wasn't a lot of wiggle room. So I thought it just made Lockie look not so great with him not owning up there. But I guess he didn't care because it's now his ex-alliance.
I think he's still trying to play the middle ground here.
Yeah, and I don't think he's doing a very good job of it. Because he and Annalise, which was his main lifeline, not necessarily his main lifeline, but like a good lifeline for him, is now completely over him. Doesn't end up mattering at the end of this episode, but that's not great when you make a big flip like that.
But he's still got Ziggy.
Yeah, he does. But to purposely alienate someone, I feel like that's not. I don't know. But again, this doesn't matter 50 minutes from now.
But then we get into the jam thieves.
Oh, we get into the jam thieves. It's almost as exciting as cookie time.
Either that or Sandra's sugar stealing.
Yeah. We have food and I mean peanut butter and Winners at War. Food is really the highest currency.
Yeah.
So real quick before the jam sesh, which is what I will now call it, or hashtag
jam sesh. All right.
There was a Jamgate. That was a hashtag.
I didn't even notice. Oh my gosh, we got a hashtag.
On like when hashtags are like on CBS All Access, they remove the hashtags. It has said hashtag Jamgate on the screen. I got so excited. So for anybody who has
done jam sesh,
right. Yeah, we're gonna stick with hashtag jam sesh instead. Real quick before then, I want your thoughts on this because we were just talking about Henry's gameplay. So he helps Jericho. For those of you listening at home, I am air quoting this entire sentence. Helps Jericho find an idol, but finds it himself in front of Jericho. I like this a lot.
I mean, yeah, because then
him sitting him down and saying, Jericho, I have an idol.
Yeah, because then he doesn't have the whole issue of, I gave you this fake note.
It doesn't, or it does?
It does. Like, he doesn't have the issue of, I gave you this fake idol clue. Here, Jericho showed Henry and was like, this is the clue. I've been trying to find it. I can't find it. Oh, here, let me help you. Plants it. Jericho, it's right here, buddy. Come on. Where are your eyes?
Yeah, I like it because I think if I sit you down and say, McKenna, I've got an idol, you'll be like, okay, great. But there's always going to be that seed of doubt. It's like, why did you tell me? Like, are you lying? How many other people are you telling? To kind of fake the organic interaction of like, oh my God, dude, I just found this. Like, we did this together. Look at this bond. That I think is way, way better. So
100%. South Pacific, also a callback to South Pacific. Oof. With that idol find as well.
Someone had to do it. And then, okay, so let's talk about this jam situation.
Yes.
Did they eat it with anything, or did they just like scoop it on their fingers?
There was a quote that I heard that they were eating it like with their fingers, and then also putting it on their beans.
I wrote 5 question marks beans. Like, but maybe I thought they were gonna eat that for breakfast. I was very confused, but I don't like that. I don't care what show you're on. That's not okay.
Jam and beans, just
you Australians really gotta. I don't know if that's a Vegemite thing. I'm not okay with it.
Yeah, but it just seemed like the 3 of them were just eating the jam.
Yeah, they didn't give a crap. Luke, Henry, and Jericho. So Luke and Jericho have eaten
all the cookies.
Well.
All the cookie boys.
The cookie bandits. And Henry had cookies too. I mean, Jericho gave Henry his cookies. They have eaten so dang well. And I think like Luke caught a shark, or no, Lockie got a shark. I think Luke got a shark.
No, yeah, Luke got a bigger shark.
They're. I mean, I know they've been out there for 2 years.
Luke got a bigger shark.
Yeah, of course he did. Of course, Luke got the bigger shark. I know they've been out there for 2 years, but they are eating really, really well.
Yeah, we already have a winner of American Survivor right now.
Yeah, yeah. Like they're like at home, but they've flown back to America at this point.
Annalise at the end, in her final words, were like, I think they prompted her with like, how would you tell someone to win Survivor or something like that? she says something, and then she's like, I got voted out in 11th. Like, I obviously don't know the strategy. And it's like, you got voted out in 11th on day 30 whatever.
Insane. She was in great.
You would have won this game. You would have won this game if you were in America.
Yes. So Annalise and Sarah actually reconnect for a quick second, and they talk about potentially voting out Lockie. And the two of them, like, I feel like they had a bit of a misconnection. Like, they had something really, really good, and it just was never able to come to fruition.
I'm so upset.
I know. I feel like that's like my favorite and your favorite. Would have gone along, but alas, it didn't work. So this jam sesh becomes a bit of a like fascinating hive mind. I don't really know what I guess like groupthink might be the right word, but somehow without saying anything, people suddenly decide that Annalise is the one who did this.
Well, Henry first starts it off being like, oh yeah, go get that jam. And it's like, already we know it's off to a start. Because Henry, the one who ate the jam, is like, come on, bring the jam over. Let's notice that the jam is missing.
I think that's smart, but maybe it's a bit of a like whoever smelt it dealt it kind of thing. But yeah, I think it was smart of him.
Yeah, and then they go around asking everybody. Tara kind of walks into the group and they're like, did you eat the jam? And she's like, yeah, I did. And they're like, wait, what? And she's like, no, you idiots. Like, I didn't eat the jam.
What the hell am I doing eating the jam?
And then somehow it falls on Annalise, and hot model Sarah is just like, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it was her. I think she did it. And I'm like, Sarah!
I know. I think it maybe was just getting to a point where everyone was just so afraid it would get pinned to them. Because again, like Luke is one of the people who did it and Henry's one of the people who did it. They are both strong, influential personalities. So because there's no evidence, if they are pushing someone, it's going to be easy to get people on board.
We should just grab like a Q-tip from the med kit and be like, all right, swab this.
Exactly. So we go into this immunity challenge and Annalise is like target number 1 and literally did nothing, which totally sucks. So this is one of those immunity challenges where there's different stages.
I love stage immunity challenges.
I do too. And I know people don't like them because if the person who's in trouble, if they don't hit the stage, then there's not as much, not as much suspense, but I don't know. I still think they're fun.
But they play the Boston Rob Winners at War tree bamboo ring challenge. Yeah.
The ring challenge, which with a little bit of a bigger ring, but that looked like something that I'd be able to do pretty easily. But again, 6 people could get
right. Which we saw like a couple people get it, like bing, 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 bing. And then we were just waiting on Jericho.
Yes.
Finally got it.
Yes, so we have Peter, Tara, Henry, Lockie, Tessa, and Jericho all survive the ring toss. Yeah, Jericho is the last one there. And then the next one is like an American Survivor Classic with the rope obstacle course.
Right. And then Peter's shoving it, like throwing himself over the fences. So is Jericho. I thought Peter was throwing himself over too.
He might have been. I didn't notice Peter. Henry's getting all the attention on that one, but I wouldn't be shocked if Peter did, because again, Peter was still technically in trouble.
Yeah. And then we get Lockie winds up coming in first. And I'm surprised at that because he was the biggest guy doing that challenge.
I feel like it just takes more time to get someone of his size through all these like
exactly.
I would have expected to, because he can like kind of sneak his way in and out.
Yeah, exactly.
But then they get to the great equalizer, which is skee ball as the final challenge. I thought that was really lame. I can't even pretend to like it.
I mean, I'm horrible at skee ball, so like
how are you horrible at skee ball?
I'm just I hit like the lowest point. I hit 10 points every time. I can't hit any other point value.
Sure. Okay. And this one's a little harder because you don't have to get it in a slot. You have to balance it on top. So I'll give them that. And Henry ends up pulling it out. Henry wins immunity.
Shocker.
Yes, shocking to everybody. He was locked in this whole challenge.
Mm-hmm. One would think Lockie is locked in, but it was really Henry.
It was, yes. Why would anybody expect it to be that? So we get back to camp, and the weirdest conversation of the season happens so far, where Lockie asks Annalise for her idol after presumably the two of them haven't spoken in 3 days.
This is the stupidest conversation I think I've ever witnessed.
This is why I like her. Like, she's like, why did we do this? Like, this is a waste of everybody's time. Why did we talk about this?
That confessional after them talking, because I was like, they both know that they're fooling each other, right? Because we got Lockie's point of view before he goes to talk to Annalise. And I'm like, Annalise, you've got to know that Lockie is trying to pull one over on you, right? And then we have the whole interaction. Then we have Annalise discussing the interaction. And I was like, this confessional is a gem. She's like, this is a waste of time. Why are you wasting my time? Also, why are you trying to get me to give you my idol? It's not going to happen.
Yeah, I just thought that was a unnecessary move. And I think Lockie, I just don't think like strategy is Lockie's main asset. I feel like we've seen him make a few kind of blunders. Not blunders, but just like all like, why were you doing that kind of situation? Yeah. So then Pete and Tessa come to Annalise and they want to hit Lockie too. And it all comes down to Ziggy, who is the quote unquote swing vote. Ziggy has been the quote unquote swing vote definitely once before. And people always think that she'll flip. We have not seen that like really happen before. And I think Ziggy just loves to like screw over Annalise. Maybe that's just like what she loves to do.
Yeah, I don't know, but I would call this a flip because she saves Lockie, who her group wasn't working with.
Yes. I completely. So it's sort of like she and Annalise like high five on their way out. Like they're flipping in that sense. But
yes,
for some reason Ziggy just like doesn't want Annalise to do well.
It's like, why can't we just get like this? Because they're all like every girl here is just really strong. Yeah. Why can't we get this all girls thing going?
I know. And they're voting each other out. So I mean, we'll go to tribal council, but what do you think of Ziggy making this move?
I think it's perfect for her.
What does it benefit her to have Annalise gone?
Annalise is smart. She can talk to people. She can try and flip votes. She doesn't have, I don't think she has much of a footing there really, but she needs those boys in the game. Yeah, is the thing. If she loses them, she at least has two people that they want to go before her. If she got rid of Lockie now, they only had Henry in front of her. Okay, I think that makes sense. Because I feel like there isn't anything particularly threatening about Annalise, which is maybe what makes her threatening. But so he gets to tribal council and we talk about the jam sesh. And Luke is so obvious that he did it. And no one cares. Except for Sarah. Sarah's like not having it. But like Luke is just like, yeah, the jam. Yes, sucks for that. Yes, sucks for them. I'm like, yeah, she's about to go home because of this. Yeah. So I thought that was hilarious. Like, I guess it doesn't really matter, but I think that's just Luke in general, though. He's always been like, oh wow, this is nuts, man. Yeah. Sorry, mate. It's nuts, mate. We're not in America. I mean, I guess he doesn't strike me as the kind of guy to actually get mad about anything. So he's not going to actually be like, oh, well, I think this person did it. Because I don't think he cares. Even if it wasn't him, I don't think he cares. He probably not. He probably would have been like, darn, I wish I would have thought of that.
And when Annalise plays her idol, which had me like punch in the air, I was like, hell yeah, she's gonna do it. When she plays her idol,
I knew Ziggy was gonna play the nullifier.
Yeah, there was like too much time left. It was
also, I think Annalise told Ziggy she had an idol and was going to play it.
She was publicly, like, not publicly telling people, but she told Pete and Tessa that she was going to play it, and they were like, "You should do that." So I'm sure that word spread over to Ziggy, and so she plays her idol, and she even says, like, "I have a feeling I'm going to go home for something that I didn't do." So really, like, puts a nail in the coffin, and then Ziggy, like, completely destroys her.
Yeah, it's such BS. I wish it would happen to someone like different and not Annalise.
Yeah. And I will say, like, I do wish that we watched this season live, because as we're talking through this, we have an idol nullifier, which we know a lot of people hate. We have had two vote out, two return. There are a lot of twists here, and I feel like if I was recapping this live right after the episode, I'd be like, this bad, this sucks, because an idol nullifier was played in David vs. Goliath, and people were pumped because the person they liked did it to a person that we don't like. But in this situation, a likable person did it to another likable person. So
yeah, so it's very conflicting. Like, I don't want Ziggy out, but like I didn't want Annalise to go out that way.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm not big on idol nullifiers, but again, she got the ultimate reward, and it's been pretty ultimate.
No, I feel like it's, I guess, better for maybe Annalise's mental state that she did all she could do. She played an idol. It's not like she went home. It's not like she went home with it in her pocket.
Right.
It's just the luck of the draw, and she did not draw the long straw.
Yeah. So. And I think it's one of those things where it's like, it kind of sucks that this person did everything correctly. But again, that's what Survivor is. So Annalise is gone. My kind of winner pick is gone. I'm very upset about it. Ziggy's looking real good. And we're in for a stacked final 9, I guess we have left.
Did you watch the preview, Alexa?
I did not.
All right. Don't worry. I did, because I figure you didn't.
I'm 50% watching previews. Why don't you tell the class what happens?
Auction! Survivor auction next.
Yay! Oh my god, I miss these.
So, something happens where they're bidding, and then Hot Model Sarah just goes $500, and they're like, what? So I don't know what it is for. It's probably some sort of advantage or something, but she bids the max amount of money, and they are flipping out.
It's probably because her boyfriend is on the other side of the auction table. I'm sorry to admit that. Okay. That's very exciting. I haven't seen an auction in a while.
Why would you do this to me?
I'm so sorry. It was low-hanging fruit. All right, what else do you have on the merger? Should we wrap this up?
I think that's all I've got. The F word was the last note I have written.
The F word. I thought that was great. So what was I going to say here? So Phil and I actually presently are not really doing podcasts together, except for any patron podcasts. So you guys should all become patrons. It's a wonderful asset that we offer. But Phil,
highly agree.
Recapping the challenge, I believe, on his birthday this coming Wednesday.
Yes.
If I am not mistaken, on the birthdays of my friends. Which will be very exciting.
Yes. It's going to be an hour later than usual, I believe, because he's going out to dinner.
Oh, I love how you know that.
I talked to John, so you talked to Phil, I talked to John. So.
Yes, McKenna knows everywhere that Phil will be dining on Wednesday.
Yes.
So everyone make sure to wish Phil a happy birthday. What I'm going to do on Wednesday is find an embarrassing photo of him and post it on our Instagram, because that's what we do on each other's birthdays. And really, that's all we got. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and we're on
one small thing. We set a date for the Winners at War Jeopardy. So they'll be competing on the 9th. So you'll see it on the channel a few days after that.
And one person is already at an advantage because they actually have played Jeopardy before. Like actually went on Jeopardy. It's very cool.
Yeah.
But stay tuned for that. And we hope y'all have a wonderful first week of January.
Yes.
Bye.